So we are in the midst of an authoritarian power grab that no one living today has seen in their lifetime. In this video, I'm talking about all of the major things that Trump has done in his first 2 weeks in office. My goal for this video was to list all of the positive things and all of the negative things that I think that Trump has done in his first 2 weeks. I wanted to list 10 good things and 10 bad things that Trump has done to make it seem at least semi-neutral. Unfortunately, the bad things severely outweigh the good. And I want you to believe me when I say this. I tried to find as many positive things as possible. And I did find something to put in the positive. I'll put that at the end of the video, but first I'll start with all of the negative things that I think he's done. But first, I want to acknowledge that Trump has done a lot of things in his first 2 weeks. Over 300 actions, including executive orders and bills that have been signed. However, many of those actions are straight from the Project 2025 playbook. And if you don't know by now, Project 2025 is the list of policy initiatives that were created during the wet dreams of the most evil cartoon villain, white Christian nationalist motherfuckers who quite literally aim to turn the US into a fascist theocracy. Now, some of the executive orders that he did don't really change much. They were more of a virtue signal to the right's culture war. For example, he declared that the federal government can only observe 2 genders. He pulled down the Spanish versions of web pages on certain federal government websites, which is a huge middle finger to millions of American citizens whose first language is Spanish. He's trying to get DEI initiatives out of government entities. Okay, some of these things will have a negative social effect, but all of the things I just listed are culture war issues that keep conservatives awake at night. Like, most conservatives treat immigrants and trans people like they have nightmares about them every night, like a drag Freddy Krueger or something. And I shouldn't be upset that this president is focusing mostly on the culture war issues, because those are the issues that rile up his base, and those are the issues that got him elected. Immigrants and trans people. And honestly, the Democrats do similar things with their culture war issues too. But this president cannot go around parading like he's going to address major issues like the price of groceries. What did Trump say? He said something like, "Groceries, I said it, groceries, what a word that is." I promise someday that I will nail that impression, but for now, you just have to deal with that. For the sake of time, let me get to the list. And these are listed in no order of importance. They're just a list that I compiled upon doing my research. Number 1, he's getting us into a trade war with our closest allies, Canada, Mexico, and then of course with Canada and Colombia. Number 2, he unconstitutionally tried to remove birthright citizenship, which thankfully was struck down by the courts. Number 3, he withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Accords, which is an international treaty that tries to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limits global warming. Number 4, he withdrew the US from the WHO, the World Health Organization. Number 5, he increased oil and gas drilling. Number 6, he renamed Mount Denali and the Gulf of Mexico to Mount McKinley and the Gulf of America. Renaming these areas, of course, is harmless, but it's so infuriating when over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. People can't afford healthcare. Eggs are $12. Planes are crashing. And this is what you focus on? Be for real. Number 7, he ended the Office of Gun Violence Protection. Number 8, he froze federal spending, which put the whole country in a fucking frenzy last week. I won't get into that. We all know what happened. Number 9, Trump has given the green light to ICE to round up as many immigrants as possible and ship them off to detention centers in Guantanamo Bay. Number 10, Trump signed the Laken Riley Act, which gives ICE permission to arrest any person who is even suspected as being an undocumented immigrant. So no due process anymore. Number 11, Trump is dismantling the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has a very important job of protecting millions of Americans from being frauded by big banks and large financial institutions. Number 12, Trump has recommitted and is doubling down on the death penalty. Number 13, Trump has repealed several Biden orders to act on climate change. Number 14, he signed an executive order to literally raise drug prices. Number 15, he is actively trying to dismantle the Federal Department of Education. I thought this was kind of interesting. So Jerry Connolly, who's the ranking member in the House Oversight Committee for the Democrats, he tweeted this report card on Donald Trump during his first 2 weeks, which is kind of like an elementary way of grading how his first 2 weeks have gone. And yeah, the format is pretty juvenile, but I think a few of the points that they make on this are quite good. On this report card, there are 5 different subjects, and 3 of them he failed, and 2 of them he got an A+ in. So I guess we'll go through each and see what happened. In the subject of lowering the cost of healthcare and prescription drugs, Donald Trump failed because he put more money in the pockets of Big Pharma by repealing cost-saving rules for prescription drugs. Just like I said earlier, he literally increased the price of so many different prescription drugs that Biden fought really hard to negotiate the prices, or he had Medicare negotiate these prices. For instance, capping the cost of insulin for seniors. And of course, like I said, he withdrew from the World Health Organization. In the subject of reducing the cost of living for all Americans, there's a few points here, and the main one, obviously, is he's threatening a trade war, which will impose what effectively is higher taxes on almost all of the goods that we bring in from Canada, Mexico, Colombia, China, everywhere. Let's see. Next, in the subject of upholding the rule of law, he pardoned more than 1,500 violent January 6 insurrectionists. Some of those were violent criminals and who assaulted police officers. He also pardoned some terrible fucking people like drug traffickers and dark web creeps. And next, let's see what subjects he did good in. So he got an A+ in weaponizing the government and delivering for billionaire donors. Honestly, weaponizing the government and delivering for billionaire donors, these are something that Republicans who voted for Trump, they knew about this. They knew that he's delivering for all of his billionaire donors. They welcomed Elon Musk. They welcomed his $270 million donation to his campaign. And they want him to weaponize the government against his enemies. They want that. Here's a short list of some of his executive orders that are in complete alignment with what Project 2025 aims to do. Deploy active duty troops to the southern border, declare there are only 2 genders, enforce the death penalty, withdraw from the WHO, withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords, increase oil and gas drilling, eliminate DEI from the federal government. And what's not listed on there, because this might be an old figure, is demolishing the Federal Department of Education. Now let's talk about some of the good things that President Trump has done in his first 2 weeks. And believe it or not, I only have one, and that is unbanning TikTok. It's the only good thing that he's done. Now, he has done, like I said, over 300 actions, including executive orders and signed bills. But, like I said, many of those orders were just virtue signals to the right culture war that they're waging on the American public. For instance, trying to eliminate DEI, removing the Spanish pages from government websites, doing all kinds of things. Oh, also, they changed the language of LGBT on the government websites, and they shortened it to just LGB. So the T, trans, is gone. Really just trying to eliminate trans people, not just physically from the earth, but also like in language. Now, of course, there are many executive orders and bills that Trump has signed that I didn't list. There's hundreds of other things that he's done. But all of those things are only a good thing if you see the world through a conservative, Christian, nationalist point of view. And if you want Donald Trump to become the next great dictator.